Okay, well, thanks everybody for joining us today for a webinar on Grow Smart, how SAP Grow for Cloud ERP is transforming modern business. And we'll be presenting today with SAP. So let's start off with meeting our speakers. So, hi, my name is Frank Polito. I'm the Vice President here at Exceed for Strategic Growth. I've got over 20 years experience helping businesses grow by connecting high value customers and building strategies to implement ERP systems. We have Rob Seifert from SAP. He's one of the SAP experts for S/4HANA Cloud and Center of Excellence, one of their senior directors. He's got over 30 years experience in ERP transformations, wealth of knowledge. So we're really excited to have you on the call today, Rob, presenting. And then we've got Bruno Avalia. He's our SAP S4 Cloud Architect. He's got over 16 years experience specializing in SAP's ERP solutions. And I want to thank all the presenters today for joining and sharing their thoughts and expertise. So let's jump into it. So today's agenda is going to cover off on key things that we think are major value drivers in evaluating an ERP system, especially SAP Grow. But when it comes to the cost of inaction by not upgrading your ERP, why outdated ERP systems may be holding you back, the future of ERP and how to build a business case to upgrade, how SAP Grow outperforms competitors, and agile scalability and AI-driven insights, side-by-side comparisons. Then we'll kind of go into a real road SAP Grow transformation, challenges you may face with outdated ERP systems, why clients are choosing SAP Grow versus the competitors, and the business impact and cost savings of moving forward with a solution like SAP Grow. And then we'll go into the smart roadmap to SAP Grow best practices for a seamless migration, how to calculate the ROI of moving to SAP Grow, and step-by-step process for success cloud transformation. And then from there, we'll kind of give you some takeaways. We're going to have an interactive Q&A and things that we think will be compelling as you're looking to move forward with an ERP transformation. So in this section, we're going to look at the cost of inaction by not upgrading your ERP. So a lot of what we're seeing with outdated ERP systems and how they're holding you back is a lack of harmonization, data fragmentation, fragmented governance, outdated technology, and high costs. Sticking with old platforms doesn't just slow you down, it impacts how your teams perform and how customers experience your brand. And you could be using legacy systems if it's with SAP, if it's with Oracle and other different solutions out there. And these are some of the things that we've seen. Bruno or Rob, would either one of you want to share a thought?
Rather than all the challenges that business faced with updated systems, we have a natural degradation of the systems. Things get old, things start to break, things start to run slowly. So all the natural problems that we have and things that we need to pay for having outdated systems. So we constantly face things like this on our journey with SAP Grow.
Without a
Yeah,
doubt.
and from my end, as those systems get older, you're losing functionality that you need for new business models. I mean, over the last, 4 or 5 years, subscriptions have blown up. People are giving you subscriptions for everything, but a lot of those old legacy solutions don't support that type of business model. You're also losing visibility, and more and more of the systems provide you that right level of visibility with the right level of controls in place too. So, not having a newer system that provides you the ability to stay up to date creates challenges every single day for you, because then you start creating your own customizations to accommodate for that. And then guess who's maintaining those customizations? You are. And then when you're maintaining customizations just to stay afloat, you're not spending time on new business models, ways to make more money or save more money, but just to stay afloat. It's just not very productive.
Yeah, as you're saying that, I'm thinking this is a great transition to the next slide. When you think about why legacy systems fails to support modern business demands, it really, a lot of what you just said, Rob, aligned to this integration challenges, right? Legacy systems struggle to connect with modern technologies, creating silos, right? Limited functionality, the lack of advanced tools needed in real time, especially in mobile and cloud operations, high maintenance costs just because if it's on-prem, and the maintenance and all that, the upkeep can be very expensive. And then security vulnerabilities, I mean, there's security breaches every day, right? And even the biggest companies in the world who have billions of dollars, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in security, they're getting broken. So, and then the user experience, having a UX experience, if you've got a poor interface, it slows down your users, it increases working capital, right? And these are some key things that we wanted to point out. Rob, do you want to add, Bruno?
Well, it's interesting. Even the user interface, when things become so inefficient in the system, people start doing things outside the system. So when they're doing things outside the system, you're losing even more control and even more visibility. And integrations, yeah, they may work for some of the things that you have in house, but you start doing business with other companies, with banks, for example, they're going to start changing their technology for what they require for integrations for you to get data in and out of the system. So the older you go, the higher your risk is in running into issues of just keeping yourself afloat.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Also, the hidden cost of keep the legacy systems running. You need a dedicated team to keep running your tailored system. So it's not efficient at all.
Absolutely. So this slide's a little bit busy, but we're going to be sharing the recording, sharing this presentation, but these are some real world consequences of delaying an upgrade to your ERP solutions. Rising operational costs, decreasing efficiency and productivity, heightening security and compliance risks, missed opportunities for innovation, right? Especially with AI. AI is, literally controlling the world now almost. It's kind of a joke, but uh, legacy systems don't have embedded AI in most cases, or you have to get a bolt on, right? So that's a key. That's definitely a big driver in today's world. I can say that talent attrition and moral decline. I mean, when employees get frustrated with systems that are outdated, right, it makes their jobs harder, right, and they get frustrated. So that's definitely one. Disconnected systems and poor data quality. Just being able to integrate various systems, that can be obviously a big challenge, or a lack of centralized data. Just it's a compelling business case to actually want to make change, right? And then compressed timelines and risk in the future. Waiting too long for forced last minute high pressure migrations, or fewer consultants and higher implementation costs. These are some key things definitely to consider. And then in a summary, delaying an ERP upgrade isn't just a technical risk, it's a strategic liability. The longer you wait, the more it costs your business and inefficiencies, risk exposure, and lost opportunities. So, Rob, Bruna, do you guys want to share any final thoughts before we go into the next section?
Yes, I would like to highlight that in some cases, companies starting to pile up workarounds. And by the end of the day, nobody knows why the things happen as they are running, because there's a lot of piled workarounds and companies start to get lost the track of the changes, lost the track of the system and the process. So everything starts to get messy.
Yeah, to build on that, one of my old bosses said it perfectly. She had read a book about technical debt versus technical wealth.
Yeah.
Over the years, people don't understand a lot of the changes they've made. People didn't document it. People are gone. And, when you look at a digital transformation, you have the opportunity to think strategically again and say, why am I making this change? This isn't strategic. And for the changes you're making, find a way to make sure you're documenting them better so that as you move forward, you understand the decisions you made, why you made them, so that it's easier later on if you need to make a change or remove a change, what the impact of that change will be. And it's also interesting when you talk about talent attribution or moral decline. It's not only even on the user side that the people actually using the system day to day, finance, accounting, procurement, sales. It's the technical people on the back end too, because they don't want to be stuck using the old technology either. They want to do something new and exciting, and they want to be able to provide the best possible service to their colleagues as well. And when they're only working in old systems, they don't have the opportunity to do that.
Love it. I think you said it really nicely. So let's jump into the next section. So in this section, we'll talk about the future of cloud ERP and how to build a business case to upgrade. And I actually threw in this slide this morning because I wanted, why, when you're building a business case, you're trying to build something compelling for now and not later, right? And the goal is to modernize your ERP with SAP GROW, right? That's the core purpose of today's webinar. And it could be external things in your industry, right, that you're facing. That could be signs of why you need to modernize your legacy ERP system. If it's lost productivity, if it's lack of data-driven visibility, high maintenance costs. We already kind of went over these things, but this kind of puts it into a section, right? Then you look at the benefits of modernizing your legacy ERP system with a new system, right? If it's the cost savings, the data centralization, security and compliance. So I thought it'd be nice to have this side by side as a takeaway, because this may resonate with you in various ways as it pertains to your business. So I just kind of wanted to share this slide before we go into the next. And this is where Rob's going to jump in to really start talking about the intimacy around SAP S/4HANA GROW, the public cloud edition, and a lot of the accolades and the recognition that they've gotten globally. So Rob, I'll let you take it from here.
Sounds good. And really, this is about thinking about what makes the most sense for you, not only today. A lot of times when I'm talking to customers, it's about the challenges they're facing today. What can they not do today? What are the holes they have today? But it's also about thinking about the future. What do you want to do in the next 3 to 5 years? Where do you plan to be in the next 3 to 5 years? Those are two important aspects of what you should be looking at when you're deciding what ERP you're going to move forward with. Do you want one that's going to satisfy you today, but may not be what you need tomorrow? I think that's one of the huge advantages of Grow with SAP. This is an ERP that you will not outgrow. And there are competitive solutions out there that are really good in what they do in limited areas, but you're going to outgrow them. So now you're not only implementing once, you're implementing again later on when you achieve those major growth plans and views that you have for the future. And one of the great things about Grow with SAP is not only is it already a market leader, and I don't need to go through the accolades there, but what I love about it too is it's running on industry standard, and we've built what we call best practices. The idea is a lot of these processes that you use day in, day out on the back end, they're not really strategically moving the needle up or down. So why are you reinventing those processes? Why are you spending time modifying those processes, maintaining those processes? Because when you do, it's taking away your time from working on things that are going to save you a lot more money or make you a lot more money. So the idea that you can come in and instead of starting with a blank sheet of paper, say, here are these standard processes. Where do they differ from what you need to do? And okay, if we need to make some slight adjustments to make it work for you, let's do that. But let's spend more time on figuring out, once we get the foundation built, where are the strategic areas that you need to focus in on to make sure that you can achieve the goals that you have. You can get that real-time information you need to make the right decisions, that you're always up to date, because this is a true SaaS solution. You're getting 2 upgrades a year. So you're not falling behind anymore. You're not having to plan years in advance for an upgrade. You're not having to worry about, well, do my servers support this next version? What's the operating system? What are the patches? What are the patches I need for this? All of that's taken away from you, and that's managed by the company SAP for you.
You said it so eloquently. Very, very, very well said, Rob. So
Yeah.
go ahead, Bruno. Did you want to add?
Yeah, I want to like to share my 2 cents on that. First, as a solution architect, I always want to have the best tools available on the market to provide the solution for the business. So SAP can provide this. It's the cutting edge in technology, is the best practice process and scenarios that we can leverage and deliver to the business real value. rather than go into big bite discussions, go through crazy technological landscapes and so on. We have everything packed with SAP, and we are able to really provide value to the business. That's the end goal, as my point of view as a solution architect. Rather than the discussion about the landscapes, the technology, and so on, the discussion is how to provide more value to the business and having the perfect tool set to provide it. So that's my takeaway about SAP and SAP Grow.
Thank you for sharing. So let's transition to the next slide. I know, Rob, we were talking about this one. You really like this one, so I'll let you lead it again.
There, you got it. One of the things that I appreciate is user experience, because you know what? When people don't know what to do, time is wasted. At my old company, we had policies and procedures, but you had to go outside of the system. You had to look at the policy and procedure, and you lost efficiency there. And then you didn't necessarily have the controls in the system to support the policies and procedures. One of the great things about the new front end, or the existing front end, I think, for our web solution, is that it's more intuitive. It's easy to work with. And it puts what you need to do your work right in front of you. With role definitions, we have the ability to have customized dashboards that only show you as a user what you should be doing. You have the ability to set your favorites like you're used to doing when you're working with web browsers or other web technology. And you have the ability to go back and forth to different places by the click of a button, or by picking things that look more visually pleasing to work with and more intuitive to work with. And a lot more of our workforce aren't just sitting behind a computer at a desk. They're using tablets, they're using their phone. In some cases, they're even using their watches. So this is a tool that's built so that it can go across all of those different platforms, and you can still get business done. And on top of it, it has built-in guidance for you. We have multiple ways to get you the help that you're looking for, to make it easier for you. And with some of our AI, we make it even easier to talk in plain English, to ask questions, to get the information you need to do your work. Because let's be real, sometimes people aren't in the system that often. So what's hard is when you're forced to go into a system that you're not in that often to remember how to do a certain process. It's nice to know that you could use plain English to say, hey, how do I approve this PO? And boom, you get an answer without having to type in very specific keywords to get the information that you need. So it's a very exciting time to be working within new technologies, especially as AI comes along to help you do things even easier.
Love it. Bruno, do you want to add just some of the experience that you've had since, from the user experience?
Yes, the analytics embedded. It's also like awesome differentiation, because you have like all the charts that you need, all the data that you need to perform your daily work and analyze complex scenarios, and everything is embedded. So that's awesome, and the users love it when we present to them all the how easy it is to explore data, to have everything on your hand, literally.
So let's transition to this slide, because this was something that I really thought was a compelling differentiator, right, for SAP Grow. And Rob, I'll let you speak to this, but I think it's really important for those that are watching to understand, when you're looking at expansion into new regions, SAP has the widest and deepest localization coverage of any SaaS ERP solution. Rob, do you want to add?
Well, what's wonderful about that, not only the deepest and widest, but on top of that, you're not paying more to use it. So you could go live today with just the US, but let's say tomorrow you want to expand into Mexico, Canada, wherever it may be. You can add in that additional functionality at no extra cost. And not all of our competitors can say that. They create limits for how many different countries that you can have before you start having to pay more. There's no additional cost from us. And then as we go through an assessment with you, we have tools that will tell you exactly what functionality works within different countries, because rules are different, functions are different, guidelines are different. So we have the ability to walk you through what the impact will be when you look at going live in those different countries. And we have functionality available also to let you, let's say you're live in the US now and you still need to make some changes to your system, but you're looking at implementing Canada. We have functionality to allow you to separate that out and do some of your work, get Canada ready, then bring it back into your main solution to make sure that it works with everything you need before you move it forward to production. All doing that in a way that you can do parallel so you're not stopping all your business because now you have to go live with the new country.
Love it. So in this slide, I want us to start to talk about the journey to SAP's Business Suite, right? If you're at the starting point, say you're a new client to SAP and you want to kick it off with Grow, there's a bigger picture here at SAP, and that's SAP Business Suite. And this is super important as you're looking at partnering with SAP and starting that journey. It's just really important to kind of look at how that is. And what I'll do here, Rob, I'm just going to go to the next slide, and then I'll let you take it from here. Go ahead.
Well, so thinking about it from the business suite perspective. So yes, I mean, there were times that we focused on Grow with SAP in the past, which was our Cloud ERP, the public edition. Well, but it goes beyond that, because if you think about it from a more modular perspective, there are times that you need to look at, well, how am I handling my spend? How am I handling my procurement? How am I handling HR? And when you think about all those areas, customer experience, cloud, all of those items together, think about it as Legos. What are the things that I need to focus in on now? What are my long-term plans? And then as time goes on, build what you need along the way. It's no longer this monolithic approach where I have to do everything at once and it's going to take forever. Our goal is to get you live as fast as possible, getting value, getting a return on your investment as quickly as possible, getting success, and then build on where you need to instead of waiting 2 to 3 years to get everything just right. And it's not just about the applications either. When you think about that, you need your applications to connect. They need to be fluid. Well, then you need to have a strong understanding of your data. And the more that you have these enterprise grade solutions, you have a connectivity in that data. You know that that data is controlled by business rules and criteria within your business system. So you know your data is correct. Now it's all linked together. When that data is linked together, and let's say you're bringing in external data, this is where you have the excitement of AI. So not only am I leveraging the data that I have in my system that I know is accurate, up to date, and clean, but now you're bringing in external data and you're starting to see new pictures about, wow, where should I go? What should I do? What are the new opportunities for me? Let's say with this new season coming up and these changes in the market, what does that potentially mean so that I make sure that I'm making the right products at the right time and sending them out? Let's say that I'm having a challenge with one of my companies that usually delivers me widget A. Well, now I can work through and see, well, what are other companies that have higher delivery rates for me? The opportunities are endless, and we're just scratching the surface right now. A lot of the current AI stuff, it's about, making operational things more efficient, but you're starting to hear more about Gen AI. You're starting to hear more about agentic AI. We're just at the starting point now of being able to leverage this technology correctly. And the more you have a strong foundation of your unparalleled applications, your ERP, whatever it may be, connected together with that right data, you have the foundation you need to leverage AI to its fullest extent.
Awesome. So let's take a peek at, what SAP's Business Suite looks like. And Rob, floor is yours.
All right. So the foundation for everything is on what we call the business technology platform. That's where you can integrate all of your applications together. And let's be real, we know nobody uses all of just SAP. So our integrations are out there for other solutions as well, because in the end, we want you to succeed with the SAP solutions you're working. So we don't want to hinder your ability to interact with those other solutions. So we have a very robust solution for your integrations. On top of that, we use our business technology platform for all of our reporting, your dashboards, whatever stories you want to tell. And that's also where you can build out your AI use cases. So in this case, we provide you AI within all of our different systems. But sometimes there's strategic needs for you to develop your own AI strategies and approaches. And there's a multitude of large language models that you can use within the business technology platform to build out what it is you need for your business to succeed. And on top of that, we have our business data cloud. The idea is let's bring all of that data in together. Let's understand that data. So one of the things at times that people face a challenge with is I'm going to bring my data in from all of these different systems. Well, when you do that, sometimes you lose the semantics around that data. What does that data mean? Why is it used? How is it used? What are the processes with it? How do you know it's clean? The business data cloud helps you bring that data in, and in some cases, actually connect real time to those business systems to pull the data as you need it to tell those stories for you. And SAP is building out different solutions that say, we know these are the most common ways people are looking at data in finance, in procurement, in HR. We're building out those solutions so you don't have to. We're putting the model in place, but with the flexibility for you to say, well, I need to tweak this just a little bit for my business. The capabilities are there for you to be able to do it. And then on top of that, we talked a little bit the cloud ERP. We're already talking about the public cloud. And then within that light blue, you have your supply chain management, your spend management, your human capital. What are the pieces you need and when do you need them? Tie them in together. And then again, they all come together in that simple data layer. And then we also understand at times that there are very specific needs within different industries. And being able to tie in industry specific solutions to help you continue to expand. And when you think about it, again, it comes back to these Lego pieces. As you keep doing all of that, now you have your foundation together, and now you can start building in your agents. Again, back to the business technology platform and AI agents. The idea of an AI agent is it can be an expert within one given area. It can do anything from the beginning to the end, but it's an expert in that area and it's very deep in that area. But then you have the ability to say, okay, I'm done with my ERP side of it. Now let me pass it over to the supply chain side of it. And that's another agent that understands everything from that end very deep. So the ability to go even further and deeper as you see need that you need for your company is amazing. And on top of that, it's all built on something that we call Joule. Just think of it as an AI co-pilot. And if you're using the SAP systems, you can ask a question in one system. It doesn't care if you're not in the system where the data is. It's still going to go across all those systems. It's going to validate that you have the right to view the information you need, and it's going to give you the answer you need where you are. It's going to meet you where you are. It's not going to say, hey, I'm sorry, you need to log out here, go into this other system and ask the question. The idea is we understand people do have to work in different areas, but when they need something done, they don't want to have to figure out where to go and what to do and exactly how to do it. They want to use plain English. They want to use AI to ask questions and get insights back for them to make the decisions that they need to. I know I said a lot there, so let me pause. Bruno, if you have anything else to add, Frank.
Yeah, I love the comparison that it's like constructing a skyscraper. You know, you start with a rock solid foundation, you build the core structure, you add in a specialized floor, and on top of it, you layer on the brain. You know, that is the AI. And about the AI, we can talk for hours. But one thing that I would like to to put on the table is that within SAP, AI knows business. So that's the differentiation. It's not just one large language model. It's something that knows your business, knows how the things works, know where the information is. So it's amazing, and it leverages your business, your daily activities, your insights to a whole new level.
So, when you think about that, the goal, right, is to drive organizational wide transformation with SAP Business Suite. We talked about the AI, we talked about modernizing cloud connected data, and we talked about the various areas of Business Suite, if it's customer experience, supply chain management, human capital management, spend management, financial management. And we're going to go into a couple more detailed slides, but this is a takeaway slide to kind of look at the breakdown and some of the key functionality that sits into that. Rob, before we transition, anything else you want to add on this slide?
You know, a couple things. One, I didn't mention it, I probably inferred to it, but that single source of the truth. I've had challenges with old companies where everybody had their own creative way of providing reporting up to the C-suite. So when you have a single source of truth and you're making sure that people are using the same data with the same rules, you have a better chance of accurate information that is consistent across all of your different business areas. And Bruno took a little bit of my thunder earlier, the real-time insights. That's one of the things that's exciting to me. In the past, when working with legacy ERPs, I had to remember to run reports. My staff had to remember to run reports. And sometimes they then had to take those reports out of the system, manipulate them, get them to do what they needed, then go back into the system to take action. With all of our cloud solutions now, you don't have to do that. Stay in the system. And the minute somebody clears an invoice, wow, your day sales outstanding just automatically updated. And you're getting intelligent insights. You're getting pinged proactively when there's challenges with your sales orders or challenges with being able to meet your delivery. The idea is no longer should you have to manually remember where to go to run things, how to look at them, how to interpret them. The idea is to get the system to do a lot of that work for you, because in the end, one of my big goals back in the old days, I want people adding value. I don't want fingers on keyboards when it's not adding any value. I'd rather you be building stronger relationships, making more sales, finding new ways to do business, not just keeping the lights on.
Yeah, and when we get to this next slide, you got to start to think about how is this going to impact key stakeholders, right? When you're looking at growing your business at the C-suite, and getting ready to run a SaaS ERP-led business suite, these are very important things that matter to various stakeholders across the business, right? And I know, Rob, we were talking about this earlier. We had a couple various slides that we wanted to go over, but it's really important to understand where is there a compelling business case at the stakeholder level, right? If it's
Mhm.
end-to-end process around lead to cash, source to pay, record to report, delivering transformative impact with AI-powered processes. These are some key things that matter at the C-suite. And Rob or Bruno, do you guys want to add anything?
Yeah, I think one of the most important things when talking to the C-suite and these different personas is talking about the end goal, the business value to come out of it. We shouldn't go in talking about technology. We should go in and we should be asking questions and we should be listening and we should be learning and understanding. And from there, based on all of the years of experience we have from companies that are, multiple people to billions of dollars companies, we've experienced a lot of these situations. And we understand when we hear what you're having to say based on that prior experience, how we can come back to you and say, here's how we can give you the value. Here's how we can help you meet this goal. And then we can get into the technology aspect to show exactly how we can do it. I'm a strong proponent of it starts with people and process. Once we can understand those, then the technology comes into play. And I'm lucky enough to work at SAP to where our technology comes into play most of the time. And where it can't, we also have the extensibility or add-ons to help meet that final part of the push to make sure that you can meet your strategic goals moving forward.
Yeah, that's perfect
Bruno?
because yeah, because Bob, having the operation running smoothly should be given. You know, that's not the goal of the system. The goal of the system is to deliver value. So that's why it's so important to be backed up by this more than 50 years of best practice of running business and have everything linked and designed to operate in the better way possible so we can focus on delivering real value.
So as we transition, I wanted us to leave you all with a takeaway that really breaks down the comprehensive industry specific capabilities of SAP Business Suite, its extendable type of applications, the suite components that fall within each category. Rob, we were talking about this earlier this morning. Maybe you can share a thought or two about the sophistication of these suites and your thoughts on this slide.
Yeah, we have the ability to help meet you where you are today and where you want to be tomorrow. So some of the customers I talk to are early on in subscription business. They're like, you know what, we're just starting to do this. Usually we were a box pusher or we sold things and it was one-time transactions, but we're looking at the opportunities with subscriptions. Well, we have a way to help you do that. We have a way to help you manage. Okay, well, what are these subscriptions? What are the entitlements with it? What does that mean I have to deliver? And what are my responsibilities? And hey, how do I need to recognize revenue on these things? We can help you with those things. We can help you with, you're trying to figure out, well, how do I design this? What is my life cycle of my design and the manufacturing? And then how do I take this bomb and I get it into the system? And then how do I manufacture what I need to put all of those components together to have an end deliverable? We've done that. We understand how to do that. We understand the challenges with procurement and being able to find that right resource. And, for those companies that continue to have green initiatives and want to better understand how to measure that, well, we can help you with that. We have the ability to tie into one of the biggest business networks, if not the biggest business network in the world, and we can track that CO2 information and get it to you, and you can actually use it in making decisions on who you want to do business with. And we know more and more companies continue to, or consumers, I should say, continue to care about that. So it's one of the ways that you can advertise the improvements you're making. And a lot of people talking about, going neutral, neutral from a CO2 perspective. We can help you meet those goals and measure those goals. So, depending on where you are and what your priorities are, we have a way to help you meet whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish through all of these different solutions. And I feel confident that even if we get you 90% of the way there, we can get the rest of the 10% either through an add on or through extensibility. There's not a way that we haven't been able to help the customer achieve those strategic goals.
Love it. So as we're wrapping up this section of today's webinar, we wanted to show a side-by-side comparison of how SAP is performing in that competitive heat map of other providers, right? And if you look on the far right side of best of breed leaders, you can see SAP is all the way down the map, right? If it comes to core financial planning and analysis, if it comes to manufacturing, warehouse management, supply chain management, everything you see on the far left side, SAP is very strong and competent and has invested significantly in being able to provide those capabilities to its clients. So this is a nice takeaway slide after today. We'll share this with you, but we wanted to see, an honest view of how SAP is from a side-by-side perspective. And from there, we want to kind of look at key value drivers for SAP GROW and how we're outperforming the competition, right? Faster time to value, scalable and modular architecture, built-in innovation and lower TCO, right? SAP GROW is not just an ERP in the cloud. It's an ERP built for growth, agility, and continuous innovation, right? And I'm, very proud of being a major partner of SAP to help go to market with GROW, because we believe that SAP is one of the best, if not the best, ERP cloud solution out there. Rob, do you want to add any final thoughts on this slide?
Well, I definitely spend more time talking to customer about the time to value. The idea that you're talking months to go live and not years. And the idea is, I used to be a customer too. How quickly can I get a return on my value? And what are the strategic things that I need to have to where I feel that I've made improvements in the system? And then let's continue to grow from there. Remember, break it down where you can so that you're getting that value faster. We can help you do that. And starting with standardized processes that are not strategic to you and sticking with those as much as possible, that gets you there faster. And then you'd already talked about the innovation. The fact that you're on a cloud solution, a SaaS offering, we continue to deliver more and more, not only innovation, new business models, but more and more AI capabilities. And one thing that was mentioned earlier, even though we use large language models, we do not use any customer data to train external large language models. Your information is kept anonymous. So it gives you the value of what you need out of it without the security issues of your data being shared with anyone else, because we care from an ethics perspective about how we're leveraging this information and how we're maintaining and sharing it. And we've already kind of talked about the modular part of it. What is the piece that you need to do now? Maybe ERP is the number one focus, or ERP and HR. Okay, let's figure out what is the model that we want to move forward with. But let's not only look at today, let's look at what you're thinking for the next 3 to 5 years, so that we're building out a plan that we review every year and you're continuing to go go the right direction for your company. And of course, when we're taking over all the back end infrastructure for you, you are going to see a reduced TCO, not only in the maintenance of it, but also in the improvements to the processes, the automation, the things that we're automatically finding and telling you about that you're not missing or later on manually finding, which is costing you business. It's costing you customer satisfaction. We're here to help you stay as strong as possible, up in the system, efficient in the system, with accurate real-time information.
Love it. So let's get into this next section. So in this section, we're going to talk a railroad SAP GROW transformation. And in this area, we're going to talk about a couple key things about why clients choose SAP GROW versus the competition, why clients are recommending GROW. You know, I put this diagram together because I wanted to kind of look at the differentiators and key things that stand out with SAP GROW, right? Built on Roll S4 HANA, you know, a lot of competitors, many are lighter in this area around their entire infrastructure. Industry best practices included out of the box, that's right there with GROW. Global compliance and scalability, you have that with GROW. Full integration with SAP ecosystem, if you are using SAP to some degree. And then SAP BTP extensions and AI tools, and accelerated time to value, right? These are key things that has GROW standing above its competitors and where the competitors are lacking. And when you start to look at the landscape of companies and brands that are trusting SAP GROW, here's a quick snapshot of notable SAP GROW clients globally that have made their choice to move to GROW and in the public edition. So you can see a lot of household name companies that have trusted in SAP for their cloud ERP solutions. And we wanted to talk about a client of ours that also moved to GROW. And Bruno, this is going to be your claim to fame to kind of showcase some of the client's challenges, the benefits and results that they got with GROW. So I'll let you lead it from here.
Thank you, Frank. So I will share a little bit about our journey with Ambipar. So Ambipar growth across the US and Canada brought together a mosaic of specialized subsidiaries, each with their own legacy process and isolated data. This fragmentation created operational blind spots, slowed decision-making, made it nearly impossible to enforce consistent standards or quickly scale new initiatives. You know, it's impacting their own growth. So the challenge was to have distributed operations, so multiple entities, which means each entity were running different processes and systems, data silos, no single source of truth, and lack of standardization. So our approach with this customer, first, our idea is to implement the end-to-end backbone for the operations. So even though each one has their specialized system to do their specialized operations, we provide with SAP GROW the backbone for these operations. So all the financials are in the same place, all the sales, all the projects. So we started to make a robust backbone of information and have a centralized data hub. With this, we start to build a future-proof platform for their operations. So summarizing, we have some time constraints here. Our focus were to get all these fragmentations and turn it into a centralized backbone of the operations, providing to the business the real value, the numbers, how can they improve the process, having faster decisions with the centralized information, with the analytica embedded. So it was a first step in a project program to make Ambipar meet the next level of technology.
It's a great story, Bruno. Thank you for sharing. And it's just great to see all these different accolades and things that we were able to solve for them and the impact that GROW had for their business. So thank you. And we're going to get into our last section, which is best practices for the smart roadmap to SAP Grow, right? And this is going to be something that we're going to kind of dive into. Like, so when you're looking at best practices for a seamless migration, right, or upgrade to your ERP in a minimize risk and maximize impact kind of mindset, right? You got to start with the readiness assessment to identify gaps and set priorities, define clear business outcomes and success KPIs that you're looking to do, adopt pre-configured best practices to accelerate deployment, engage key business stakeholders early to drive alignment and change management, and then leverage an SAP partner ecosystem for expert guidance, that being your friend here at Exceed Consulting. We're throwing a little plug for Exceed. But it's super important that you look at it in these various sections when you're building that roadmap. And Bruno, do you want to add any thoughts where we've assisted companies in building their roadmap?
For sure, as Rob mentioned, having the backup of 15 years of operations, we help the companies where they are in their business. Even they are starting the business, they are a scale up, or they have a consolidated business model, we can help them. We have a large suite of best practices to implement and to show them the best way to do process. On top of that, we have the extensions where we have the flexibility to also adapt to their specific needs. Everything wrapped in one single source of truth, in one single system, will follow the tools and the capabilities that we mentioned during this presentation. So it's pretty exciting.
So let's look at why a strategic approach matters, right? A successful ERP migration isn't just about technology. It's about minimizing disruption while maximizing the value and ROI of an investment into an ERP system, right? SAP GROW offers a modular, agile cloud approach with proven frameworks to reduce complexity and maximize ROI, and early planning across better adoption, lower risk, and fast return on investment, right? Rob, you were talking about this earlier in multiple slides, right? Maybe you can add a thought on this one.
Well, it's funny, before adding a thought on that, one of the other pieces that you hit on before that I don't think can be underplayed. It's the organizational change management aspect of it. Most transformation initiatives fail because of organizational change management. The ability to get the right people engaged early on, to get them to understand what's coming, why it's coming, to help people understand that even if this is going to be better, when we first go live, you are going to be a little less productive because there's the change management of figuring out what this new process is. And we understand it. We're here with you. And then as time goes on, we're here to listen what's working well and what's not. And remembering the people side of this is one of the most important things that you can do to ensure that you're going to have a successful implementation. So that alone, I think, is huge. On top of that, understanding not only what are the challenges that you're having today, but what is it that you will need in the next 3 to 5 years. So don't just look at today, because if you do, you may not do what you need today to help you tomorrow. And we want to make sure that we're making the right long-term decisions, not the right short-term decisions. So by doing so, you're going to increase your adoption, you're going to reduce your risk, you're going to get that faster return because you're going live with something that adds value not only today, but tomorrow.
Love it.
Also, I would like to add something related to the process of the implementation, that is the SAP methodology. We are backed up by the SAP Activate methodology, which brings a lot of robustness, clear phases in an agile methodology that leverage the implementation, and it's something that makes all this transition smoother.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because another piece that's maybe a little less strategic than that, that's just as important, is we have a digital discovery that we go through, where the idea is we will sit down and understand exactly what the different processes are that you need. And we have the ability to track those down to the specific functionality that would be turned on within the system for you. So we can identify all of that up front. And one of the great things about that, it helps us identify where things are working, what the potential gaps are, what are the integrations that you need. But on top of it, well, what is the potential cost for implementation? Because now we have more detailed information that we can say, okay, based on this, we can predict with a lot more accuracy what the time frame and the cost is going to be for this implementation. And that's huge because nobody likes over budget, over timeline projects that just carry on and on and on. So with this methodology and these tools, the goal is to reduce the risk to make it easier for you to be able to predict when you're going to be live and what the cost is going to be.
Absolutely.
That's perfect. And we can use the building block approach. So we dive into your business, we understand your needs, and you say like target with laser focus, certainty what you need for your operations. So it's a new approach and delivers a lot of value since the day one.
Yeah, and obviously I transitioned to this slide while we were talking because I thought it was a good transition. I mean, at the end of the day, you're building a step-by-step roadmap for transformation, right? From planning to value drivers. You gotta identify the main value drivers. Is if that's assessing your current ERP landscape and what those business needs are, defining your future state vision, and selecting what SAP GROW package and the different capabilities fit your business most. Configured with best practices, no custom code, training users and executing go lives, and optimizing a scale across the business, right? These are our transformation steps. And then you saw the ROI drivers. We've been talking about them basically throughout the entire presentation. But this is definitely a takeaway slide that as you're building your roadmap, key things that you need to put into factor. And I know we've got 5 minutes left, so I want to kind of open it up for Q&A and start to look at key takeaways that we want to leave you with today. So one thing that we want to kind of go over is the takeaways as us as a partner, right? Exceed Consulting has had a strategic partnership with SAP for almost 13 years now, and we're one of SAP's gold partners. And we've got referenceable clients for GROW. We've got key industries that we have expertise in, specifically around GROW. And we've made a big investment into the innovation center with App House Network, where we've got apps in the App Store that allow us to accelerate implementations of GROW. We call them Exceed Smart Packs, and we've got various t-shirt sized accelerators. If it's a small implementation or medium or large, we can work with you very collaboratively with these accelerators to reduce the cost to implement, speed up the time to implement. And through our offers, we work very closely with SAP for demos, for digital discovery assessments. They call them DDAs. We are a sell-authorized partner through the CC Flex program. We accelerate roadmaps and do complementary assessments where we sit down with your stakeholders to really draw it out, right? And as a thought leaders, obviously we're doing webinars globally. We're part of the App House Network for Technology Innovation. We're doing sponsored events for industry showcasing SAP GROW. And we're working with a lot of scale-ups where we're attending startup ecosystems to showcase SAP GROW. And, it's something we wanted to leave you with today to say, hey, we're an expert in the space. And if there's any opportunity for us to collaborate with you, we would love that. And as you're looking at key takeaways for why now, right? Why is it now time to move to SAP GROW for your cloud ERP solution? And we talked about a lot of these things, right? Outdated ERP systems may be holding you back. SAP GROW allows you to move fast, to scale, and to have an intelligent ERP that is supportive with SAP's business suite. We talked about lowering the cost, faster to ROI. We talked about the real-world success stories and confirmed that SAP GROW is a leader in the space. Smart roadmap to transformation, we went over that. Customer-backed differentiators, we went over that. And the future, the future's ahead of us, so why wait and why not move now? So we're going to be one of the key sponsors at SAP ASUG Sapphire Conference. If you are going to the conference, we'd love to see you. Feel free to reach out to us. But we're a valued partner, and a sponsor of that conference that we wanted to share today. And that's it. We wanted to give everybody an opportunity to maybe, if you have some questions, throw it in the Q&A. But I'm confident that between Rob and Bruno and myself, we probably answered a lot of questions throughout the presentation. But for the remaining minutes, does anybody have any questions that you'd like Rob or myself or Bruno to answer? So I always look at it as a good thing when you're not getting a lot of questions. That usually, to me, is an indication that we really covered a lot of the key details that people registered to learn today. So, Rob, thank you so much. It was a pleasure presenting with you. SAP is a friend of ours, and we just want to thank you so much for taking the time today to present with us.
Well, thanks for inviting me, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you.
Absolutely. And Bruno, you're the man. Appreciate everything that you did today to present as well, and sharing your expertise and experiences, both with SAP and customers out there using Grow. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Rob. Always a pleasure.
Okay. Well, I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and thank you so much for tuning in to today's webinar with SAP and Exceed on Grow. Have a great day.
You do. Take care.